I'm Jean-Pierre. I'm beside Goa Gil, and we are going to have a very, very interesting interview.
Hi, everybody.
How was your first contact with rock, psychedelic rock? Your first contact, the very first time you heard that?
Psychedelic or rock?
Both, psychedelic and rock.
Psychedelic rock, because
Yeah.
I'd already been into various forms of rock before
Yeah,
that.
but
starting
what
with
caught
Elvis,
your
whatever,
attention?
you know what I mean, and Motown or whatever.
Yeah.
No, then in the 60s, my first contact, well, I don't know, I used to hang out when I was like, 13 or something at this record store on the main street of my town, and then I went with the guy. I started to like different kind of music, and I went to the guy, to the distributor, and looked for things and found one of the first albums was maybe Love.
Love.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a group in the 60s, Love.
Okay.
Their first album, it had My Little Red Book, one song. And but also I had this freak out with the Mothers of Invention. That was one of my favorite albums quite early on. But already I liked this Love album, and then they were playing in San Francisco at one of the dance concerts, like Family Dog, one of the first ones. And I went there, and I was like 13 or 14 years old, but I really wanted to hear Love, and then I was there in this psychedelic dance concert in San Francisco with all the
15
hippies
years
and
old.
whatever. Maybe just 14.
14 years old. But
Yeah, and then I got really into it. Then I started to hitchhike over to San Francisco and hang out in front of the psychedelic shop and try to go to all the shows as much as I could. And it wasn't a matter of time, about 6 months or so before I started working there also.
So you got your life driven by music. It was a kind of a reference you had.
I don't know, I was always crazy about music.
Yeah.
And I still am. And it's been a constant evolution through different kind of music and different sounds to get where I am today.
Makes part of the world, isn't it?
Pardon me?
Music, it makes part of the world. It's like something natural in our...
It's the soundtrack of our life.
It's a soundtrack of our life, yeah. But, yeah. So, you make part some of collectives.
Pardon me?
You made part some collectives.
Groups?
Some groups like Family Dog, some
Well, no, I
some-
mean, Family Dog was already an organization putting on the first kind of what they call dance concerts, where psychedelic bands would be playing and there'd be a light show and everybody was in there dancing. And I went to a number of them, and then at one point I belonged to this group in the county where I lived called Marin Youth for Action.
Yeah.
And it was to bring the understanding between the youth and the adults of our county more together. And they wanted to make a conference at the local college on the pros and cons of drugs, because it was in the news, all this thing at that time.
That was...
And so this was like 66, beginning of 66. So then I already was hanging out in the scene, and they had no money to make the conference. So I was hanging out in the scene and I knew all the groups in San Francisco already by this time. So I said, why don't we make a benefit concert? I can get Big Brother and the Holding Company, Quicksilver Messenger Service, the Charlatans, and the Sparrow. I know them all. The Sparrow later became Steppenwolf. And I got them all for like $250 each. We rented an amphitheater on the mountain in our county, and it was a daytime thing on the mountain with the trees, and all the bands played, and they made the money for the conference, and it was really good. And two of the groups were playing at Family Dog that weekend at the Avalon. So I kind of tied them in on it too, and the announcer who announced at the Avalon announced at my thing. And then after it was all over, they really liked what I did, and then I got a job there as the guard of the band room door, which I did for 1 year. And the next year I delivered all the posters and the tickets every week around the Bay Area.
So you joined
for the
group.
shows. Well, because they were all my friend, and that's where I wanted to be.
And since from the beginning you thought about producing songs, you had songs in your mind and you want to put it out?
No,
Or
I
it
mean,
was-
I played guitar from a young age and wrote songs myself.
Really?
Yeah, and I had some bands in junior high school and whatever and all that. And then I went to India, and then I did a bunch of things in India, and then after a bit in Goa, we made bands, and it was a whole live music scene through the 70s.
Yeah, the movement in San Francisco had a very bright and high period, but on the other hand, there was a kind of...
Well, that's when I left. I was 17 years old. The family dog moved in kind of end of 68 or beginning of 69 from the Avalon Ballroom to the beach. And in the meantime, I had really gotten into the music of Champlin, and they were all my friends from Marin County. So then, when they moved to the beach, I stopped working for them and I started to work as a roadie for the Sons of Champlin. And summer of 69, we toured with Jefferson Airplane all over the western United States. When I came back to San Francisco, the end of the summer of 69, it was just after Altamont. You might have heard of Altamont. The Rolling Stones made a big free concert in 69, and the Hells Angels killed one black guy in front of the stage. There was a film about it. Well, that was a symbol. At the same time that happened, in Haight-Ashbury, a lot of people came to prey on the young runaway kids. Some well-known dealers who were friends of everybody got killed mysteriously. All kind of bad things started to happen. It was like the bubble burst. And a lot of people split at that time, whether they split to communes anywhere in the United States or went traveling overseas or decided to become yuppies and join the establishment. And, you know, it was a big change in that time.
But it seems that there was a kind of...
That's when I bought a one-way ticket to Amsterdam and then went overland to India. Right after this. I came back to San Francisco. I couldn't work as a roadie anymore because I got too many speeding tickets and lost my driver's license.
They got...
Huh?
They got...
So I bought a one-way ticket to Amsterdam and went through Europe and Morocco and then ended up going to overland to India.
Yeah, I've been to Amsterdam 5 years ago. I wonder how it was like 20 years ago.
This was end of 69, beginning of 70.
So it was like 30 years ago.
It was 35.
35 years ago. Was it
More.
good?
37.
37.
Almost 38.
Yeah. Was it good?
Wow, it was another world. I mean, I was really lucky to go at that time because I came on the end of somehow hundreds of years of culture, and so it was still more alive because modern life and TV and all that hadn't infiltrated yet. That really changes the people. I saw it happen in many countries. And so I was lucky to come there, and in those early years, especially when I got to India and was living as a sadhu, and I had some moments, I tell you, that were timeless. It could have been like thousands of years ago, you know, and you were there and the sun was setting and the scene and everybody like in you know, traditional clothes and babas and whatever, and it was like 1,000 years ago. It was great. So I was lucky to be able to live that life and that world open up for me. I feel very blessed.
You're looking for different values in life.
I mean, I've experienced many things. I mean, I have my own values, which is I believe to live in truth and not harm any being and so many things like that. And that's my value. I mean, people have their own values. But all the experience I had in so many different countries, seeing, you know, made me in that kind of way.
All right.
And also my spiritual sadhana.
Yeah. Your spiritual, sorry?
Well, going to India and finding my guru and then doing all kind of yoga and tapasya and sadhana, and that also helped in that value system that
the discovery of your own self.
Yeah, I guess. And that your self is connected to all the self